Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Catechumens Depart. I'm Eric Anderson.
I'm Father Mark Kozak from the Holy Assumption of the Virgin Mary Church in South, not Central, not North Philadelphia.
You insist on putting an H on that first word, which clearly
South
indicates that you're not from Philadelphia.
No, I'm not from Philadelphia. I'm sorry. Yeah. South Philadelphia. Yeah.
South.
No, I'm from Maryland.
Nah.
And 14 generations from Maryland. Yeah.
Not I. I am a genuine American monster, mostly from Germany and Tennessee, apparently. Yeah. I don't know what I am.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, you could always find out.
Yeah, but then they have your DNA. So I'm gonna skip that one.
This is true.
Yeah,
but I think the government has mine already. So
they most certainly do.
They can have it.
Yeah. Last week we were talking about Lent. And
that's true. We talked about Lent and Holy Week and Pascha and pre-Lent.
Yeah. So I want to talk a bit more. Well, we can just keep talking about that. I think there's plenty to go on. I asked, and then we never got to, why do we have pre-sanctified liturgies during Lent?
Okay. Most monasteries and cathedrals and actually some regular parishes have a divine liturgy every day.
Okay.
So during Lent, they take not a break, but they take out the daily liturgies and put in 2 pre-sanctified liturgies. And so it's not to take
suspicion, but
it's not to take something away. It's a podvik. It's something. Lent is something different, so this is something different. You know, you're still taking communion, and there's no doubt about that. But it's a discipline.
Okay, because I would think, maybe this is right or wrong, that Lent is like a penitential season in a way. Not penitential, but like a season of repentance or preparation or something like that.
And to have resurrectional, I mean, the liturgy is resurrectional. It's always resurrectional. It's like, yeah.
And even we say we celebrate the divine liturgy. So
yeah, we celebrate it. We don't reenact it. We don't memorialize it. We celebrate it.
Yeah,
and that's a different ball game.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I used athletic
ball
words.
Game. No, it's fine. It's fine. I think we're allowed. We're allowed a panoply of metaphors and word plays, and
we're Americans, and we're I love hearing the politicians and so-called experts of the media and other folks using military and sea terms. We're going to make a sea change. I'm going like, yeah, but that's not really appropriate here.
Yeah. Language is a little unmoored from.
It's a little bit crazy in American English. So.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we celebrate the liturgy of pre-sanctified gifts. We do it in the evening, which is many people thought of this as an innovation in the 1960s because that crazy St. Vladimir Seminary was doing it in the evening. Well, it starts with Vespers, which is done in the evening.
Yeah.
So not in the morning.
Yeah.
In the evening.
Okay.
So you have this
Sort of
regular beginning of Vespers. Actually, it's little Vespers.
Okay.
Or daily Vespers. And then you add this wonderful psalmody, but we're not really adding that because that is the Psalms for the canon for that particular day, for that particular Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going over the Psalms as the monastics would do.
Okay.
So, but we do this in a Russian Slavic chant, you know, da 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 da. So we do that in 3 antiphons. It's beautiful, and it doesn't take that much time. And then we do all kinds of other interesting things that only are done during Pre-Sanctified.
So you better go to church and participate.
That's right. You better go to church and participate in it, and it's wonderful.
Speaking of canons,
you mean boom boom or a piece of matins or other liturgical terms?
We use that term for too many things. So, well, we're getting up to Bright Week, which is next week. Why do they call it Bright Week?
Actually, they call it Clean Week.
Or Clean Week. I'm sorry, not Bright Week. Yeah, that's at the end.
So we clean up.
Oh, it's that simple.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
I mean, we're supposed to clean up our houses and clean up our pots and pans and get ready for Lent.
Okay. And so then the Canon of St. Andrew is done during that week.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, why is it called a canon?
Well,
I know
because
we've talked about this and I can never remember.
Because it is a can. Well, I don't know why it's called a canon, but it is a piece of liturgical work with 9 odes to it.
Okay.
And with stichiri to that. And
what's that?
It's the verses.
Okay.
Yeah. The stichiri is used for a lot of things. So it's used for Lord I Call verses, used for Apostica verses, used for all kinds of things. But it's so the canon, any canon is, and you can have a canon of a saint, you can have a canon of a great feast. You can have the Canon of St. Andrew, a penitential canon. If you want to learn about penitence, if you want to learn about the human condition, you read that canon. That's how we start out.
Okay.
Actually, really, we start out, I'm sorry, forgive me, of my faux pas in liturgical time. We start out with forgiving each other.
True. Yeah. Which is happening Sunday.
This is it. Yeah.
Are you guys having it? Are they letting you guys have it? Okay.
Yeah. Well, we're not going to be smacking lips, but it's going to be.
But it is going to be happening.
Sure.
Good. Why do we do the Canon of St. Andrew? What's the deal with that? Like, what's special about it? Why do we do it that week?
I think for 2 reasons. I think one, it is penitential. It looks at the human fallen condition in a uniquely refreshing but hard way.
Okay.
And then 2, it helps us with the historicity of those who are penitent, those who and those who are not.
How do you mean?
Because it tells a story throughout. They talk about Noah. They talk about Jonah. They talk about this. They talk about they talk about all these things.
Okay.
So the verses talk about all of these things, and they get down to Cain and Abel. They get to Adam and Eve. They the whole.
Oh, so it sort of recapitulates all of history in a way.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Is it called Saint? Is it like the Liturgy of St. John Chrysostom? Is it St. Andrew's canon because he was the author, or
Basically, we think he's the author. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Roughly speaking.
And even, well, actually, St. John really wasn't the author, because St. Basil was the author of the Divine Liturgy and many others, but he was the main author. And then St. John made some adjustments, and so that's why we do both, just to retain the, celebration.
Sort of original form and then the updated form.
So a canon can be held during Little or Great Compline,
okay,
which is during the Canon of St. Andrew.
Okay.
It can be held during Matins. The Panachida is a matinal service, so there's a canon of the Panachida. There's a canon of the funeral. That's another matinal service.
Okay.
And a number of other places.
Compline is when during the day?
Compline is at 8 or 9
p.m.
during the evening. Yes.
And that's after Vespers.
It's after Vespers, after dinner, and then you go to Compline.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I know we covered all that in liturgical time, but that was a while
This
ago.
is true, but it's good to refresh ourselves.
Yes. Okay, cool. Let's see. What Sunday are we on? Are we the
Sunday.
Last Judgment, right?
We missed that. No,
we did.
That was last week.
That was last Sunday. And then,
yes.
So this upcoming Sunday is which one?
It's Forgiveness Sunday.
And that's the main theme of the week.
Well, there are two main themes of the week.
Okay.
So give me a second here.
Visual aid.
Well, no.
No.
I'm fumbling.
Oh, well.
So wait a minute. The gospel is about forgiveness. So actually they meet together.
Okay.
Even though they speak of fasting, it's about forgiveness, and not to look too gloomy or sad of countenance like those hypocrites who want to be noticed when they fast.
Nobody does. No hypocrites. No one fasts in America anymore except Muslims and us.
Well, no, we do.
Yeah, I mean the Catholics kind of gesture toward it, I think, but.
Well, there are some individuals that but I don't think there's any other. No.
Mm-mm.
And there is nothing else for discipline. The West has maintained for years and years and years that this is a punishment thing and because we're bad.
Mm. So
this runs into another line of theological problem is that we because we're bad, we need to become good for confession. So we go to confession to be good enough to go to communion.
Yeah.
That's not. We don't go to confession for that. Number one. Number two, we're never good enough for communion ever.
No. Yeah.
So that's God's grace that gives us that. We have a responsibility for our taking of communion ourselves, and our priests do to some extent. I don't like I think I said, I only had one time that I didn't give someone communion, and that was a misunderstanding on their part.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
But, it's not a time to, take out the 2x4 and hit yourself on the head and feel bad. And it's, just, no.
Yeah.
It's a time for discipline. It's a time for a journey. This is what we stopped about. Yeah, really. We talked about last week.
Yeah.
And this is a journey of discipline. This is not a journey of, well, let's sort of do our regular things in our life, and we can put it into our little God box, and we can do whatever we want because it's our free will, and and whatever, and well, that's the world.
Yeah.
And it's not all about eating.
Right. That's part of the preparation,
and everybody will talk about eating.
Certainly, especially because it's super weird to fast in our culture. Period.
Well, yeah, it is, but it's also we lead with our stomachs. If we look on the television set, I don't know if people look on the regular TV anymore, probably not. But anyway, back in the day, you look on the television set and how many food things are out there, how many fast food things are, how many restaurants, how many this, how many that. Do we think about food all the time? No, but we think about food
a lot. Yeah, and not even consciously. It's funny.
No, it's like
until you start fasting, you're not like it's just so constant. You're like, oh, it's a pizza ad or a hamburger ad or whatever, and you're like, whatever, and then you're like, oh, I'm hungry. Oh, look at all these cheeseburger ads.
So Christ tells us to fast, but then he tells us not to look like we're fasting.
Right, not to do it all grimly and
woe me, I am fasting.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No. And also, this is another misnomer, and I think this comes from the West too, because it's very juridical and brittle. You hear the term, I've broken the fast, and I've ruined my entire Lent. Well, no, that's not what Lent is for. Lent is to get up.
Mm-hmm.
And if you've technically broken the fast, then you get up and do it today and tomorrow and keep going.
Our priest here was talking about that last night after Vespers a little bit. It's like all of the things is, in fact, it's what you're talking about earlier with our service models, right? All of the things are striving toward an ideal, but that's different than a legal framework, right?
It's not a check your box off of, okay, let's see, I need to fast. I need to do it the monastic way, because that is the right way and written down in the rubrics and Typicon and everything, and all monks and nuns fast the same. So I need to do the fast. I need to read scripture every day. Check that box off. I need to, let's see, what else do I need to do? I need to come to confession. And, maybe this is like once a year, maybe it's twice a year or something like that. So I got to get ready for that. And I've got to be, ready, I got to be ready for confession and, and be holy,
Yeah. Good luck.
And I got to give alms.
Which we were just reading this morning, and we've been reading the prologue of Ovid.
Yeah. Okay.
It's really great, and part of the reflection for this morning was that almsgiving is not just giving money; it's giving time, it's giving prayer,
energy. It's giving yourself.
Yeah.
It's giving yourself in a whole way, not in, I'll give you money.
Yeah.
Which is,
I like that it brought up that giving prayer for others is a form of almsgiving, because that's something we can all do, no matter our material means or not. And if there's, even if you have the material means, there's not always somebody nearby you can run over and give $5 to. It's but you can always pray for somebody. And that I found that super helpful.
Yeah.
What other Lenten practices
Well, I encourage people to shut off their computers and shut off their television sets. And I know this is extraordinarily hard in our culture, and it's gotten harder and harder over the years, but
yeah, I was listening to a priest earlier. Oh, go ahead.
And the reason is not what you think.
What I don't even know what I think.
Because most of us think that, oh well, that there are bad things on the television set. The reason is you turn off the noise.
Yeah, it's more that we are enslaved to the stimulus, rather than it's like that it's good or bad.
Yeah,
because I can spend too long on the computer looking at things that are perfectly, in the right circumstances, are perfectly interesting, perhaps even edifying, whatever. And I can walk away from that feeling completely demon possessed, because it's like, it's something too that's interesting about, here we are on this medium, but too much of it can just suck the life out of you and the energy out of you.
Well, it's like potato
even
chips.
if it's not bad.
And it's like, I wouldn't recommend that, maybe a few at a time, but, watching all 38 episodes of Catechumens Depart during the first week of Lent, I wouldn't recommend that.
No. Yeah.
Maybe a couple, maybe, a couple during this week, a couple during that week. But that's so, Lent is about silence.
Yeah.
And Lent is about silence so that we can think, number one, but number two, so we can listen to God.
Yeah.
Because there's two active things that are going on there: listening and thinking.
Yeah.
And praying.
Yeah. Which we can't do if there's just like yippity yapping chatter.
Let's go through 3 or 4 different kinds of television sets and computers and telephones, and let's walk into a car or a tree or something like that, looking at our iPhone and everything else, and no.
Yeah.
So I encourage people, and I know this is really archaic, and this is probably not bordering on Ludditism, but probably beyond Ludditism, is that I encourage people to read books.
What even are those?
On spiritual topics.
What?
During Great and Holy Lent. And that means if you read a series of books, or if you read a series of saints, or if you read a history of Byzantium, or if you read, there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of books about Orthodoxy now. It's not like it was back when I was chrismated. There were 50.
Like, I've read all the books because there's none in English.
There's not a lot in English then, but now it is. It's just. I read some of the same books during Lent. I've read almost my entire time in the church, 40-odd years.
What do you usually go to?
Oh, I go to Brother Codfile, who is a great Benedictine monk and mystery solver and gardener, but he always gets he always works on his humility. He always gets the right young couple together, and the rich are made into an example for others, and the poor are lifted up. And
these are 20 novels, I assume.
Yeah, there are 24 of these books.
Oh, wow, good. That'll keep you busy for 6 weeks.
Yeah, for 6 weeks. Yeah. I read. Well,
because you only work 1 day a week, Father. We know.
And we also know, because the deacon told me again on Sunday, that I only work for 45 minutes now, because the deacon does the rest of the stuff.
True.
So
good work if you can get it.
Yeah. I often will read The Lord of the Rings, The Hobbit, The Silmarillion, and Lord of the Rings.
Mm-hmm.
I will read the Chronicles of Narnia. I try and pick something out that I'm. Sometimes they're rereading. Sometimes I need to reread some things.
Mm-hmm.
I have a need for that particular Lent for that. I encourage people to read about their patron saint. Da-na-na-na.
Mine's easy because it's the patriarch Jacob, so there's
so there's
not a ton, but
but there's some in there. But that's a good idea to read that. Because in my case, my patron saint is always during Holy Week or just before. So hey,
easy.
So read about the specific saints during Great and Holy Lent. Not only the back page of our bulletin, which is a very good bio and everything, but try and read about those. Try and read about St. Mary of Egypt, reading about her story, reading about
that's a good one.
It's a great story. And St. Gregory Palamas is another great story. He was in line to become a politician and chancellor of the Byzantine Empire, and he becomes this extraordinary monastic. Do something with your head. That's what it's on top of your neck for. So
I was just thinking that I wish all of our politicians would become monastics, but that was a little rabbit trail for my head.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah, no, it's not likely to happen.
We've got plenty of desert. Just saying.
Let's see, what else do I? Giving alms. And I ask people to do something different every year.
Yeah.
If you have the same things if you have the same charities and everything that you give to, then you need to give to that. Okay, but you can do something different every year, and mix it up.
Yeah. To open up new pathways.
Right.
Yeah. Right. Good. Let's see. Where are we at here? Oh, we're about at half an hour.
That's amazing.
Well, we've been getting more concise.
Which is amazing. Again.
Shocking. Well, I think that about covers what's coming up in the next week or two anyway. Do you have any closing thoughts on what people should be focusing on for at least the next week or so?
I really think that, I love the Canon of St. Andrew, desperately, but we really need to work on forgiveness during Lent. Because when we look at the saints of latter days and former days and everything, this is what they talk about. They talk about love. They talk about forgiveness. They talk about not judging others. They talk about all of these things about forgiveness. And then we bow down before every one of our brothers and sisters in Christ is forgive me a sinner, and say I forgive and God forgives. I really think we need to believe those words, and especially during these hard times. I mean, this is not an easy time. It's going to be a lot different than from last year.
Yeah.
But some people are talking about normal, and I don't know what that word exactly means. But
so I could tell him what I thought. What did I say before we recorded? I said it's the fading vapors of the dream of modernity or something like that.
Yes, yeah, that was. I like that. Ooh, wow.
They're just blowing away like smoke.
But I think we need to devote ourselves to forgiveness and forgiving And then to understanding, you know, to a very, very slight method of understanding the forgiveness of God.
Mm.
And then we might get it. Maybe.
Good. Well, thank you. It's good to be with you as always.
Good to be with you. And next week, I have service at 6:30, I think. I think I should be okay. I might be doing it from my car. Ooh, look at that. There's 95. Catechumens Depart on 95. Wow.
That might be too...
that might be too
wild. Well, we might record next week or we might not.
We might not. Yes. Just so this is our 39th, I think. Yeah.
I think so.
Something like that. Yeah.
So we'll see you guys when we see you. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Until next time, let's see what I'll do it this way. I have to get my mouse is asleep. Oh my goodness. All right, everybody. Till next week or the week after, catechumens depart.